Lewis Hart for the Ring magazine. Always a pleasure to be joined with Frank Smith, especially on what is a busy week and probably a busy day for yourself. But look, first things first. How's things? How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I'm actually just at Tottenham. Got a meeting for the Eubank Ben fight today. So yeah, no, things are good, mate. Busy morning. Was at Talksport first thing, and now here.
Yeah, well, I guess before we go on to obviously the big breaking news from yesterday. Yeah, obviously a double fight week for Matchroom this weekend with Dave Allen taking on Arsenal Makhmudov and Jaron Ennis taking on Wisma Lima. So yeah, looking forward to that. I guess the Zone marathon on Saturday night.
100%, 100%. You'd be staying up watching the whole way through, mate. You know,
Yeah, of course, mate. Of course, of course.
kick off at 5 o'clock in Sheffield. But we're gonna have 10,000 people in there. I can't wait for it. And obviously Dave Allen headline against Makhmudov. What a fight! He wanted a fight that tested himself, and that's what he's got here. And if Dave Allen can come through, it sets himself up for huge fights down the line. Boston against Fawaz as well. The rematch on that. Chief Support is going to be a brilliant fight. Uh, Padley against Reece Bellotti as well on that card, another great fight. And then obviously over across to America, you got Alexis Barrier fighting Cavalieri as well, the Italian heavyweight from Top Rank. Going to be a great fight. And Jaron Ennis back out, undoubtedly someone in the top pound for pound list of fighters right now. He takes on Lima, someone who probably isn't really getting the respect he deserves. Has been on the road, has won big fights, and it's going to be a proper fight for Boots on Saturday. If he can come through that, he goes on to continue to look to rule at the 154 division.
Yeah, what do you make of the critics of Boots being like, look, he's, however, what, 31 and 0 now, 32 and 0, who say, look, you can't really name a big fighter on his resume. How would you respond, I guess, to them critics?
I mean, look at his last fight. You know, it should have been a close fight. He absolutely destroyed him to become a unified champion. It's also about people wanting to fight him. It's all well and good saying when we were looking at the Norman fight before, you remember we made a huge offer for Brian Norman, you know, huge money, much, much, much more than he's ever made. And he turned it down. So you can only do so much. Boots is willing to fight anyone and will fight anyone. He's in a position to go and get those big fights. He could fight Crawford in time. That's a
Mm.
massive fight. So we shall see. We shall see. But he's got a real test on Saturday. Lima's no joke, and he's going to come to win.
Yeah, and I know we joked last week about the Netflix appearance and the acting career, but with that video yesterday, it looks like you can do multiple different roles, a bank robber as well now, it seems.
I was going to carry on with the outfit and go and see if I could get any cash out of the bank. No, actually, I have to say thank you to Jamie Ward because he did play my stunt double for the day. I was in meetings. I was actually getting the contract signed, so Jamie Ward had to play me until I could come out and just do the big reveal. So I wore an outfit for 15 minutes. Jamie wore it for 8 hours.
Fair play to Jamie. But yeah, look, obviously the news of Ben Whittaker signing with Matchroom seemed like, for most people inevitable at some point. Yesterday was the day that it happened. How delighted are you to get Ben Whittaker on board?
100%. I always said, like I said in my post, I said never in doubt. I always knew one day we would get Ben Whittaker. And as I said in interviews before we signed him, which probably made it more expensive, he's the biggest commercial star and potential to go all the way to the top and become a global superstar. He's got everything you need. He's got the ability in the ring. He delivers outside of the ring. He does everything that's needed. So I'm so excited to be part of this journey with him now. He literally can go all the way to the top. And I think Matchroom and Ben Whittaker is a perfect pairing. And I think Eddie and Ben Whittaker together, you saw it with that promo video
Yeah.
yesterday. They're going to be spectacular together. And I think we can take him all the way to the top. And, it's a long-term deal, but I believe he'll be with us for the rest of his career now.
Is it a unique situation? Like when he was with another promoter, like everyone was always saying, like, about obviously always linking him to Matchroom. Like it's very unique that you do really get that with a fighter, but especially yourself on the promotional side. Like, what is that situation like when you're always getting linked to a certain fighter and them not even being with you?
Yeah, I think, look, we got very close. We filmed a promo the first time round
Mm. Hmm.
when he nearly signed with us. Obviously, went with Boxer at the time. And I think, I said to him the other day when I was with him, I said, I don't think it was a wrong move then. There was certain things, financial as well. It was a huge move
Mm.
for him. But I think he's at a stage of his career where he knows he needs to press on now and he sees the vision. Um, and there was always that flirting of like, is it going to
Mm.
happen? And I felt as soon as he was in a position contractually free, he was going to talk to everyone as well. And he did talk to everyone, not just in the UK, but globally. But I think he believes the vision that we see. As a team together now, especially as well with Andy Lee as part of his team, I think there's nothing stopping him going all the way to the top.
obviously Matchroom globally promote, and look, Whitaker is almost becoming that crossover star. But is there an importance for yourself building him in the UK and headlining the UK before you do take him globally?
Yeah, 100%. Look, I do think he'll fight in the US as well. I think you'll see him fight in the US. He's got a huge, huge following in the US, especially across social media for what he's done already. So undoubtedly he will fight there. But first and foremost, our focus is to build him in the UK. He's got, I was saying earlier, between him and Conor Ben, I think we've got the two biggest names. Obviously AJ if you're coming towards the latter part of their career, but the two biggest names in British boxing for the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And it's exciting times to be involved. When you've worked in the sport, I've been involved now 15 years, you have these moments every now and then when you go, sort of relights that fire and you go, yes, this is it.
Mm.
And that's what we got with Ben Whittaker.
I know there's a November 29th show potentially in Birmingham, and there's a few people that have been touted for that. Would Whitaker be on that card?
Possibly we're working through it now. He will fight this year. We've got November 29th, December 6th, December 13th, all those
Yeah.
cards we're working through the details of now. But yeah, possibly on there. But you shall see. We shall see. You
Do
know
you,
me, I'm not the one to give away I think by the end of this week you'll see some more details on the
yeah.
remaining schedule.
Do you want him headlining then in his first fight?
I do. I do. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I think he has to headline. He's at that stage of his career. But he's only 10 fights in, and I
Mm.
think he's still got a lot of learning and progression. Like you got to build him at the right pace, you know, and that's what we'll aim to do. The key, I've said on multiple interviews, is about momentum now. He's going to have
Mm.
4 fights in 14 months by the end of next year, and that's going to be key for his learning, his developing, especially under Andy Lee as well. So yeah, you'll see him fight this year and then 3 big fights next year.
There must be an urgency to push him on now because, it's been almost 4 years since the Olympics, and it feels like now we're still waiting for that breakout moment. So you must feel like there is an urgency more than ever to push him on.
Think, but it's got to be done in the right manner and the right times. I think he's only 28 years old. He's a lot younger than a lot of these other Olympians that have come through. And I don't think the progression he's had in the last 3 years, not commercially, obviously he's become a star, but not yet a superstar, but commercially he's done a lot. But I don't think from a progression from a fight and boxing perspective, he's had, the right opponents at all times. I don't think he's, been matched the best at times. That's out of his
Mm.
control. But I think now he's got to be matched the right way in order to learn and develop. And that's what we will do. And it's not going to be, him fighting for a world title next year. No, that's just the honest reality of it.
Mhm.
But he's going to be in fights that develop him, build him up, and set him up for a long term sort of plan in this sport, not here just for a year and then forgotten about. This guy, as I said earlier, we believe we'll work with him for the rest of his career now, and that's another 5, 6, 7, 8 years. As long as he wants it to be. So yeah, the next year is going to be about learning, developing, and working through and get him in the biggest fights possible beyond that.
Okay, good stuff. And before I let you go, like, where do you think? I doubt you even care really, but where do you think? I guess this leaves Shalom, who's essentially lost one of his biggest players in his stable.
Yeah, I've been asked a lot as to like, does it make you feel happy that you got one out? But like,
Yeah,
the reality is in this sport is if you work on that basis, every day you would spend thinking about, oh, I'm gonna go off there, gonna do
yeah,
this, gonna do that. Like you have to focus on your own business. We signed Ben Whittaker because we believe in Ben Whittaker and we believe where he can go to and what we can do together. Not because he was signed to boxer.
mm,
Nothing to do with that. I mean, when you look at boxers' business, I've been very open. Like, I've never hidden my opinion or
yeah,
my
of course.
views. You know, absolute shambles.
Mhm.
They had 32 million quid with Sky. They completely fucked it up, couldn't deliver. So what do you think they're going to do now? That's just my view.
Yeah.
I like people who work with him, boxer. I don't like Ben. I've been open about it,
Hmm.
you know. But wish them all. I don't wish any bad on them. Like, go and do what you're going to do. I focus on our own business. It's not, and our business is not dependent on the success of them or another promoter. We've been going for 43 years, and we will be going long beyond my time as well.
Mm.
We'll be going for hundreds of years, hopefully.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's interesting times for the sport, but it's exciting for us because when you have a moment like this and you have a fighter that you can get behind and get excited about, and really feels like the start of a journey, albeit he's
Yeah.
done amazing things. Where he can go to is a whole nother level.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. Look, Frank, appreciate you taking time to speak to me as always. I know it's a busy, busy week for you, but look, enjoy the rest of your week and I'm sure we'll be catching up soon. Cheers, mate.
Perfect. Cheers, Ben.